Okay, hello everybody. My name is Shawn Slevin, and I am the founder and executive director of a not-for-profit in New York City called Swim Strong Foundation. Our mission is to reduce unintended drowning and water-based accidents, and we tackle that in 3 ways. One, which everybody would presume correctly, is to be in the water teaching the actual skills. We do that in a very concierge manner, very small one-on-one at our most beginning lessons to 1 to 6 at our most competitive lessons. And we've taught more than 12,300 people in that matter. We've graduated more than 3,000 who have gone on to competitive swimming, both in adult and youth programs. We also have graduated over 535 lifeguards out of the program, 69 young men and women who have gone into the military with our skills, and another 49 who have gone to become first responders in New York City. And so that's police, fire, and emergency services techs. So we are all about swimming for safety, health, competition, recreation, and then the opportunity to use those skills for a lifetime. So I want to share a personal story with you. I myself grew up and became a lifeguard, competitive swimmer on a lake. And I have to tell you, I was all full of myself and my skills and my strength. And we would often sail on this lake. And of course, I never brought my life jacket with me. One day, a friend and I were going out, and I said, it's a little bit changeable today. Maybe we should just bring the bloody jackets. He did. He actually wore the jackets. That's the only reason I'm here talking to you today. Because the wind did pick up. The boom, which is what the sail hangs on, if you're not a sailor, came across unexpectedly, caught me in the back of the head, knocked me off the boat, unconscious, face down in the water. If I didn't have the jacket, my friend would not have been able to grab me and pull me back on the boat, and it would have been a very different story. We would be here enjoying the wonders of Sharm el-Sheikh with you. This type of scenario happened to me on more than one occasion, not necessarily life jackets, but my own hubris and dependency upon my skills, putting myself in situations that were really quite risky. And that started me thinking quite differently about something called situational knowledge of water and recognizing that skills alone were simply not enough. Here's our definition of situational knowledge of water. And what it really is all about is being able to think about the environment that you're in, the experience that you have relative to that environment, and then figuring out your exit plan, how you're going to survive that environment. And perhaps even to the point where you don't put yourself in that environment, right? So it's a different way of thinking. And it's one that really has helped me when I go back and I look at a situation that happened to us in 2012, a little storm called Superstorm Sandy that hit the United States and our East Coast. Superstorm Sandy was very devastating to us. A lot of people were killed. And that was an epiphany to me to say, it doesn't really matter how well any of us can swim. We're all subject to the possibility of a drowning situation. And then I looked at our drowning statistics and realized they haven't changed for decades. The same lousy numbers, decade in, decade out. And then I realized that, well, if you think about swimming lessons, which is how our industry approaches the problem, swimming lessons are difficult to get. They're expensive, they're not easily accessible, and there are going to be, at least in my lifetime, millions, if not billions, of more people who will never learn to swim than those that will. Well, how do we help those people? So my colleagues and I came up with this program called Know Before You Go, K-N-O-W, Before You Go, which is an educational program in our schools that deals with situational knowledge of water, not swimming skills. Okay. So one of the things that we also discovered in this little journey is something called relevance to water. Now remember, I live in New York City. We are an island, therefore surrounded by water, a maritime island, a maritime people, 9 million of us, most with no relevance to water. Well, what do you mean by that, Shawn? So in my youth, there was I in a nice hot red outfit going into a park, and I would pass a beautiful fountain, and for a nanosecond in my head would be this, wow, that's a fabulous fountain. And on I would go about my day, not thinking about it again. Years later, as a parent with a 2-year-old on my hand, walking past that same fountain, a very different experience in my mind about that water, because my child would be bolting away from me, going headlong to play in that fountain, right? So that's what I mean about relevance of water and how it really is different according to different situations that we are in. So another situation for us that's really quite a problem is water in our homes. In the United States, we are losing between 400 to 500 toddlers every year. Drowning is now the leading cause of death in our homes. Most of the children are dying in their homes. Not because they're bad parents, but because their parents don't have a context for water in the home. So my colleague Jerry illustrated these 5 scenarios, and basically we are now bringing this into our educational program to ask the children, can they find the water in each of these scenarios? This is now colored in. They would get it completely without color. And we often find that perhaps of the 12 scenarios, maybe half, if that, are easily identifiable, the rest not. It'll be interesting to see when we give this to parents if they have a similar response. But it proves to the point that we really need to be thinking about water in the home. So we do think about outside swimming pools, we think about bathtubs, but we don't think about toilet bowls. I was one of those children. I threw my toy in the toilet. I went in after to retrieve it. If my mother wasn't behind me, which fortunately she always was, pulling me out, it would be a problem. Toddler, heaviest part of the body, head. No musculature yet developed to pull yourself out. 2 minutes, 2 inches for any of us is all it takes to drown. Okay, I gotta get out of here. So take a look at this. This is Ida. Ida was a storm that hit us in September of 2021. This is our subway station. We had waterfalls in our subway station. Ida was the first storm that ever turned inland. That had never happened to us anywhere in the States before. Ida was responsible for 93 drowning deaths between Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, 300 miles away from the coast. 13 of those people, my neighbors, in Woodside, Queens, where there is no water around us. Why? Trapped and drowned in their basements. So what is happening here, not only from water coming down in Ida's situation, 3 months worth of water in 2 hours. Our 125-year-old infrastructure, our sewer mains, could in no way absorb that. So not only do we have to now worry about what's coming down at us, but what's coming up at us also. In addition, we even have this funky thing called, oh gosh, I just went blank. Basically, we have flooding when there's sunny day flooding, sorry about that. Sunny day flooding, which has nothing to do with rainfall, but everything to do with supermoons creating super tides, all right? And there we go again. All of a sudden, we have now places we expect to be dry, our streets, our sidewalks, our basements, our swimming pools. And so we've all had to adjust, start to learn to think about flooded streets, and do we cross them? I no longer do. I used to cross with impudence. Now I see the water, I know it's very detrimental to tarmac, I turn around and I don't drown. I go a different way. So my whole thinking is being shaped very differently by the water that I'm experiencing in just these 5 years of my life. Not all of the years that went on before, and no, I'm not telling you how many that has been. Thank you. So what's next here? It's really getting our, what we call our Office of Emergency Management, or the risk reduction management people, to talk to those of us that are in the drowning prevention field and bring more water awareness to their work that they're doing and the work that they're doing in our communities. It's so important that individuals understand what they can do to keep themselves safe in more water, which climate is bringing to all of us, as well as to understand the community response to that as well. So if anybody in the room has figured this out, please let me know, because at the moment I'm knocking on those doors and I'm hearing crickets, nothing. So I need some help to get to those people so that we can be more helpful together. This is our educational program in schools and the topics that we cover. We've reached 104,000 students in 109 schools and another 2,500 parents in various other venues. Our work is now referenced in a document that's sitting on our governor's desk, all about situational knowledge of water. So we're hoping to see this in the curriculum. We have written legislation to make water safety mandated for our schools. Hasn't gone anywhere yet. We keep pushing. What do you think? We are looking for partners. We want to get this work into every school in New York City, across New York State, across the United States, across the globe. Every one of us is in the same leaky boat as it relates to climate action. If I could come back 50 years from now and observe how everybody was dealing with the water, I would not recognize it as to what I know today. It's going to be a whole different experience. So if anyone is interested in learning more, please seek me out at the end of the day. Thank you so much.